Tonight on CTV News at 5.
And people are falling by the wayside. We live in a very, very wealthy country. Many people make an awful lot of money. There is no reason why there should be child poverty.
Needs improvement. A new report finds nearly 1 in 4 children live in poverty.
It's nice to see everybody else starting to love our sport as well.
And the Courtney effect. New Brunswick's Olympic medalist sparks an interest in speed skating in her home province.
I'm grateful and very blessed to have the opportunity to be here to show the paintings.
Plus, Kemi's Creations. This black art display honors women and their strength.
Lingering flurries for a few spots tonight. A mix of sun and cloud ahead for Thursday.
Live from the Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News at 5.
Good evening and welcome to CTV News at 5. I'm Maria Penopalis. Thank you for joining us. We're going to head straight over to the anchor desk where Todd Battis is standing by with a look at the headline.
Hi there, Maria. Coming up at 6 o'clock tonight, a Moncton courtroom was packed today as the man accused in the double murder of an elderly Dieppe couple back in 2019 took the stand. Jansen Baker vehemently denied having anything to do with the deaths of Rosemary and Bernard Saunier. We'll have more from the proceedings. Derek Haggett will have a report at 6 o'clock. Well, the Maritime provinces as well as Halifax City Council with some tough decision-making ahead of them. Councillors in the city are looking at a double-digit tax hike. In order to bring that number down, it will mean cuts and increased fees for services. We'll look at the choices that is before them tonight at 6. With food inflation highest in Atlantic Canada, there are calls to combat those costs, including dropping taxes on products from the farm to the checkout. We'll tell you about that coming up in the newscast. Let's tell you about the weather right now with CTV meteorologist Caleb Mitchell. Started off as snow for much of the region this morning, but turned rather pleasant.
Yeah, in a lot of cases that snow amounted to about 1 to 5 centimeters, but it certainly was slippery as it did collect on some road surfaces and the sun broke through. In a lot of cases that snow was melting away, though we do have some areas of some flurries that are holding on to parts of the Maritimes, so we're making our way through the afternoon and now into the first part of this evening. Temperatures right now around the region are in the range of a few degrees below. Such is the case in the northwest New Brunswick right now and a few areas of Cape Breton. To a few degrees above the freezing mark. It is mildest in general around the southwest New Brunswick and southwestern areas of Nova Scotia with some temperatures between around 1 and 3 degrees. It was a weak weather front that pushed that band of snow through. So as we've been getting behind that front, winds have become northwest. They're a little bit blustery. They're being sustained between 15 and 30 kilometers per hour. And we're getting a few gusts reported between 30 and 40 kilometers per hour. Taking a look at things on satellite and radar, I mentioned that we do have some areas of some flurries still on the go. It's widely scattered flurries across the province of New Brunswick. It is a round of flurries crossing Prince Edward Island and northern central areas of Nova Scotia, the east of that province into Cape Breton. Around the north shore of Nova Scotia and Cape Breton, amongst those flurries, there will be the risk of some snow squalls and potential for additional snowfall amounts of around 2 to 4 centimeters. I'll have more in the weather forecast coming up later on. Maria.
Thank you, Kaylin. We will see you a little later on. Right now, though, first at 5, poverty problem. The annual report card on child and family poverty is in. And while we've made modest improvements, nearly a quarter of children in Nova Scotia still live below the poverty line. And as CTV's Emma Convey reports, parents are struggling to make ends meet and rising costs are having a profound impact on the Maritimes' youngest residents. Emma.
Hi, Maria. Maritimers I spoke with today were unsettled by the report, but not surprised. According to the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives, the living wage in Nova Scotia is $27.60. Many say they don't even make that. And for those who do, it doesn't go that far, especially when you're supporting a family. No real progress was the conclusion the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives Nova Scotia came to in its 2025 report card on child and family poverty.
We have seen a slight decrease in children living in poverty in Nova Scotia. by only about 4.6%. Unfortunately, that means that 40,000 children in Nova Scotia were living in poverty in 2023.
A further breakdown of the numbers finds 23% of children lived in poverty and 38% in food insecure households. The executive director of Feed Nova Scotia says there is a direct connection between child poverty rates and the number of families using food banks.
We know that things like rent are consuming most of families' income, and food is becoming that flexible expense, and that is driving food bank use. So, while food banks will continue to exist and be there for folks to help bridge that gap, we continue to say that this is not a solution to food insecurity.
It's an issue that isn't just going to be solved by reducing grocery costs. I think it's a systemic issue.
It's a bit tight, I guess. I'm actually earning good, but the housing and everything's a bit expensive in Halifax.
Nova Scotia has the highest rate of child poverty in Atlantic Canada, the third highest provincial rate in the country. Younger families are at higher risk. 1 in 4 children under the age of 6 lived in poverty. And single parents are struggling. 49% of lone parent families lived in poverty.
We're lone parent families, most of whom, a majority of those are women-led families. We're seeing poverty rates that are approaching 1 in 2.
Income is not keeping pace with the cost of living, and families with children are under sustained pressure. As I said, lone parent families are facing elevated risk.
The report laid out some suggestions to get these numbers down: income support, the use of affordable living tax credits, and making sure families have access to them.
The minimum wage is critical. We need to continue to see increases there. The gap to the living wage is huge.
Christine Saulnier, CCPA Nova Scotia Director, adds that this report measured poverty by income and showed a slight decline in that rate. But when measuring poverty through a cost of living lens, child poverty actually increased. Maria.
Oh, wow, that's quite eye-opening. Thank you, Emma. CTV's Emma Convey for us in Halifax this evening. All right, so switching gears here. Today is the first day of Lent for many Christians around the world, and last night pancake suppers were held all over the region to mark Shrove Tuesday. As CTV's Jim Quammen shows us, he visited the parish of Christ Church in Dartmouth, where everyone was very happy to have breakfast for dinner.
I think I'll do strawberry. I've never had it with strawberry before.
We used to run a pancake games night on Shrove Tuesday, and we would sell tickets, and people could come and play whatever game, and then we'd serve pancakes around 9:30 at night. So that kind of all started then.
So in the Christian church, just before we begin Lent, we often gather as a community to prepare for the season of Lent. So tomorrow is Ash Wednesday. And so traditionally it was kind of to begin the Lenten fast. Lent is kind of a holy, spiritual time, a time for reflection on life and the world and our hopes and dreams. And this kind of supper, pancake day, it really marks the beginning of that up until Easter.
So essentially it got started because fasting is often included in Lenten practices, and so the idea was that on the day before Lent would start, you'd clean out all your fat and your sugar and whatnot out of the house, so there'd be less temptation, I guess, along the way, and so you'd load up on the day before Lent would start. It's always good, pancakes, gingerbread, I mean, lots of fat and sugar tonight, and so tomorrow we start fasting, I guess.
Well, that would be good.
So basically, yeah, it's pay what you can. So we prepare the meal, and people come and offer what they can. One of the things that we try to do at Christ Church is be inclusive, so we don't have a specific charge, but all the money raised goes to support the ministry in downtown Dartmouth.
I come because the pancakes are good too. And the sausages, and the maple syrup. All of it is good. And it's great to be here amongst friends. You become family when you become part of the community. That's why I keep coming.
Oh, that was very sweet. That put a smile on my face. And happy Lent to anyone who is observing it over the next 40 days. All right, time for a break. When we come back, though, we have so much more for you, including these stories.
I'm Avery McRae in St. John, which is just one place in the province that has seen an increased interest in speed skating. Multiple medals from Moncton's Courtney Sarro at the Winter Olympics is fueling the newfound hype in the sport. And we have all those details coming up right here on CTV News at 5.
I'm Vanessa Wright in Dartmouth, where a one-of-a-kind art exhibit is catching the eyes of everyone who passes by. You'll hear from the artists behind it coming up on CTV News at 5.
Welcome back. A Dartmouth art exhibit is stopping people in their tracks to admire its beauty and history. As CTV's Vanessa Wright shows us, each piece pays tribute to Black women and their unwavering strength.
There's a lot that meets the eye at this art exhibit.
The first thing that strikes people is the color. It's vibrant. But the truth is, behind each painting, there's stories. So we may be colorful, but sometimes we are masking, right?
Artist Kemi Adeyemi Wilson was selected by the Black Artists Network of Nova Scotia to have her work put up at this recreation center in Dartmouth. She was influenced by her life growing up in Nigeria and the lives of the women around her.
So we have going to the market, we have when people get married, so the wedding.
Not only highlighting their individual excellence, but unwavering strength. This painting honors her late sister.
She had a massive stroke at 31, and she lived for 9 years afterwards, but she never walked again.
Adeyemi Wilson is no stranger to artistry, with work at exhibits in the United Kingdom, Philadelphia, and now here. But she says her roots in her home country inspire most of her work.
Nigeria can be patriarchal, so there's always a pushback. Women have to push back. And what I've realized is women are strong. The sisterhood is strong, really. And if we support each other by lifting each other up, as well as creating opportunities for each other, the world will be a better place.
She hopes her art will have a hand in doing just that. Vanessa Wright, CTV News, Dartmouth.
Well said. Thank you, Vanessa. And by the way, if you'd like to see those beautiful works of art, they're at the Zatzman Sportsplex in Dartmouth, and they will be on display through to the end of the month. So catch them while you can.
It's fantastic. Yeah. I think I'll go take a look when I take Locke to a swim lesson.
There you go. Stop by.
Yeah. Well, we did have some snow to start off the day here in the Maritime region. It was a band of snow moving through along a weather front. And behind it, though, the sun did break through. And we can see that here, looking over Halifax Harbor from downtown Halifax. And I'm going to have more in the weather forecast coming up next.
Welcome back. Kaylin Mitchell joins us now. Kaylin, this morning, it was a bit of a messy drive in, but I have to say I went out for lunch and it was like it never happened. Yeah,
you know how that's the tough thing. It doesn't take all that much snow to come down to make for some slick road conditions, especially if it falls during the night or first thing in the morning. It's got a better chance of collecting then. But you're right, at this time of the year, if you get the sun breaking through, or even if the cloud cover's thin enough, it can melt away fairly quickly. We are looking at some cloudier conditions here in St. John for today. Not everybody broke completely free over to some very sunny conditions in the afternoon. It was more of a mix of sun and cloud around the Maritimes, and there were still some bands of some flurries moving through. In fact, some of those are still ongoing into this evening. Barometric pressure is towards the lower side. It was a weak little low pressure system and a couple of weather fronts that made its way through. There is a much stronger low pressure system that has been bringing in a tremendous amount of snow and continues to do so for eastern parts of Newfoundland. Earlier this morning, there were some reports from in around the Avalon Peninsula, including around the St. John's area, of around 30 centimeters of snow. And at that time, another 10 to 20 centimeters was expected. So it's been a very significant, a very heavy snow situation for that part of Atlantic Canada. Taking a look at things on radar right now, there's a couple areas where, as these flurries continue to move through, there's a risk of some brief snow squall-like conditions with them. One of those areas is around the north shore of Nova Scotia, so Cumberland, Colchester counties, coastal areas there, into Pictou, Antigonish counties, as well as into Cape Breton. And the potential that if you get some of those heavier flurries or brief snow squalls, there could be additional snowfall amounts of around 2 to 4 centimeters. There's a scattering of some lighter flurries around northern areas of New Brunswick, though up around Bathurst, the Acadian Peninsula, additional snowfall amounts of up to around a few centimeters certainly possible. Moving through the night, we should be seeing a lot of clearing in New Brunswick, but still some cloud cover lingering into the start of the day for Prince Edward Island and Nova Scotia. And for Prince Edward Island and the north and east of Nova Scotia, still some scattered flurries around. Now, the chances of flurries for that part of the Maritimes will get a bit lower as we make our way into Thursday afternoon, with the remainder of the Maritimes on Thursday seeing very sunny conditions in New Brunswick and a mix of sun and cloud for western areas of Nova Scotia. Now, additional snowfall amounts, I touched on this already, but it could be as much as around 2 to 4 centimeters in some areas, including up around Bathurst and the Acadian Peninsula, a few parts of Prince Edward Island, and the north and east of Nova Scotia. Winds in the forecast for tonight remain mostly out of the northwest. The overall wind gust should diminish a little bit as we head towards midnight, but you'll definitely notice a breeze around the Maritimes if you're out there either late tonight or at the start of the day for tomorrow. And tomorrow's winds will be out of the north and northwest for the region with some gusts between 20 and 40 kilometers per hour. Let's look at the low temperatures in the forecast for tonight. And for New Brunswick, in a lot of cases, the lows will be falling into a range from around -4 to -9, down to around -11 for Edmundston in the northwest of the province, down to around -4 for Charlottetown and Summerside and Prince Edward Island for tonight. And most low temperatures for Nova Scotia will fall into a range from around -2 to -5. High temperatures in the forecast for Thursday remain a few degrees below the freezing mark for the communities in the north of New Brunswick. For much of the remainder of the Maritimes, most of the high temperatures between 0 and 2 degrees. A little bit chillier around Charlottetown and Prince Edward Island with a high temperature there of around -1, and a few communities on the north shore of Nova Scotia, such as New Glasgow and Antigonish, looking at some high temperatures near -1 as well. Let's take a look at a weather watcher for tonight. And tonight's weather watcher is coming in from 4.5-year-old Lauren Williams from Lower Sackville, Nova Scotia. Lauren has sent us a drawing of watching a rainbow with friends. Thank you, Lauren. And weather watchers can come in to CTV Weather Watchers, P.O. Box 1653, Halifax, Nova Scotia, B3J2Z4, or you can email me at kaylin.mitchell@bellmedia.ca. It's a great time right now to get some weather watcher submissions in if you were looking to do so. Maria.
Thank you very much, Kaylin. So fire services across the country have been warning about an increase in the number of lithium-ion battery fires. They're used in many devices like cell phones, for example. But as CTV's Pat Foran shows us, many of the fires have been linked to e-bikes and e-scooters.
We've done stories on lithium-ion battery fires involving toy cars, smartphones on airplanes, and e-bikes in the subway system. As lithium-ion batteries are being used in more devices, more fires are happening. Aviva Insurance just issued a warning.
When they do overheat, they smoke, they can explode, and the fires burn very, very hot and spread very, very quickly.
The insurance company says there has been a 162% increase in this type of fire over the past 2 years. Toronto Fire Services says there were 90 lithium-ion battery fires last year, and there were 11 in January.
We're absolutely seeing an increase year over year.
Almost half of the fires so far this year have been connected to micro-mobility devices, e-bikes, and e-scooters.
We often see users tampering with batteries to try to increase the length of power, the duration of the battery, and also the speed at which the e-bike or e-hoverboard scooter can actually travel at.
We have seen a rise in lithium-ion battery fires.
York Region says while the batteries are in many devices in the home, most fires have been caused by items charging inside garages.
80% of those fires have been residential garage fires involving batteries.
When lithium-ion batteries fail, they may smoke, hiss, and expand. Once they enter something called thermal runaway, they can explode, releasing toxic smoke and chemicals, and reach temperatures of 400 degrees Celsius. To avoid battery fires, always follow the manufacturer's instructions, only use batteries designed for the device, and charging cords that came with the product. Store batteries away from flammable items and avoid excessive charging. You should never tamper with a battery. Don't allow them to charge overnight. And old or damaged batteries should be disposed of at municipal recycling centers. Pat Foran, CTV News.
Thank you, Pat. Time for our break, but first some music. Our African Heritage Month Music Spotlight continues with Nova Scotia singer-songwriter Maggie Andrew. She is currently up for 3 East Coast Music Awards, including Songwriter and Solo Artist of the Year. Her latest EP How to Sing for Money was made at Calgary's National Music Centre using gear once played on by maritime icons like Anne Murray and April Wine's Miles Goodwin. As we head to break, here's a listen to the title track, How to Sing for Money.
I'll teach you how to sing for money, baby. Everybody loves a fool. I'll teach you how to sing for money, baby. I could make you look so cool. Take it from the base, 'cause I learned it from the mess. I was clean.
Welcome back. Moncton speed skater Courtney Saroux has created quite a buzz in our region. This afternoon, the 25-year-old claimed a bronze medal for her 4th podium appearance of the Olympics. As CTV's Avery McCrae reports, the most decorated New Brunswick Olympian ever has also increased interest for the sport in her province.
2 weeks ago, Moncton's Courtney Saroux wasn't a household name around the Maritimes. Fast forward to multiple Olympic medals, and now everyone knows who the overachieving 25-year-old is.
We all knew the potential she had, and she's showing it.
Speed Skate New Brunswick Technical Director Derek McLeod points out how Saroux was the top-ranked short track skater in the world heading into the Games. He says it proves even in small provinces like New Brunswick, world-class talent can emerge.
We get those types of people who never really realized it was an option. They might be in another ice sport, and they realize, going fast is what their child wants to do.
McLeod says every Olympic cycle there is an increased interest in the sport around the province. But Saroux's success is resulting in a speed skating surge.
Some people are reaching out now that we have a few weeks left, but they're looking towards next year. We've got 7 clubs across the province. All are pretty well established, many years in the program, and we've got excellent Learn to Skate program.
While Saroux is getting the most attention, McLeod points out she is one of 3 New Brunswick-trained skaters carving up the ice on sport's biggest stage.
Small province, we're never really noticed. We're always in that underdog mentality until we surge ahead, and it's worked really well for us over the years. If they get hooked, they might be the next Courtney Saroux, Ricky Doak, or Brendan Corey.
And like Saroux, they one day could find themselves on an Olympic podium representing Canada and their home province. Avery McCrae, CTV News, St. John.
Outstanding, Courtney. We're so proud of you.
We are,
and all of our athletes, absolutely outstanding. The most decorated New Brunswicker ever. Yeah.
That's incredible,
yeah.
right? And
awesome.
all 4 in one Olympics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing. You are just awesome. All right, let's talk about the weather really quickly.
Yeah, so generally some pretty fair weather conditions coming up for Friday and the weekend, and then we're into next week, and all the details of that coming up at 6.
We'll see you and Todd at 6. I'll see you tomorrow. The national news is next.